All right, Coach, final home weekend of the season with a couple of games left to try to improve on the team's positioning entering the playoffs in a few weeks. I guess let's focus point on just trying to get back to playing some of the hockey that you kind of opened the second half of the
Yeah.
season on the first few games.
I really feel, in my opinion, that our biggest challenge right now is the mental side of things, is kind of getting out of our own way and not getting caught up in the record and not getting caught up in the last performance. And unfortunately, that has been very difficult. This last stretch of games, we do 8 game segments. Our last 8 game segment was as poor as I've seen. And I understand we played big time hockey programs and big time teams over that stretch, but that's what we claim to be. So if there's a talent discrepancy, where's the work ethic? Where's the compete? Where's the fight? Whatever it may be. That to me, you start thinking about the mental side of things. You're getting caught up in the record. You're getting caught up in the score of that game. You're feeling sorry for yourself. I include myself in all of this. Obviously, we're not out there competing, but these are things we go through as adults and as coaches. So I think our biggest challenge over the last stretch, today, tomorrow, this weekend included, is the mental side of things and not allowing what happened yesterday to continue to get in the way of what happens today. But unfortunately, it continues to. On the ice, Chad, it's a broken record. It's self-inflicted wounds, whether that's a turnover with the puck, a bad penalty, what have you. Those pucks are ending up in our net almost every time, especially when you play the type of teams we play on a nightly basis. So there's a couple of heads there. Obviously, that answer is a long answer, but that's where we are. There's a huge mental thing that we have to get over. And then on the ice physically, it's been something we've struggled with most of the second half.
The miscues or missed opportunities, do you feel like that leads, or is that related more to offense, defense, or is it all around?
You know what? It's not as much offense. We're not creating as much offense, but that's coming from the miscues in our own zone and through the neutral zone. Those two areas in particular. And that's with and without the puck, whether it's with the puck and we turn it over or defensively without it where we're not defending. The lack of discipline at times, we just have such a fine line right now. It's not egregious, man. We don't have kids going rogue and doing whatever they want to do and taking bad penalties every single game. That's just not happening. What's happening is the one bad penalty we take ends up in our net. And the one bad play or every bad play we make, it seems like with and without the puck, ends up in our net. And that is not a shot against the goaltending. That's just a fact. And it's what's happening right now. We lost 7-0 on Saturday. It was hard to wrap my arms around the fact that was a 7-0 game. But those pucks are ending up in our net. And we have to find a way to clean it up. And like I said, I think for us it starts with the mental side of things. Finding a way to not feel sorry for yourself and not get caught up in the record and not get caught up what happened in the last game. And still continue to focus on the best version of this team. Can make some noise, can do some damage, say what you can compete with whomever. We just haven't been able to do it enough of the time, or even close to enough of the time.
You mentioned it was hard to think that game was 7-0 on Friday night. Did you notice any positive that you saw in that game?
Not in Saturday. Saturday was 7-0. Friday was 7-3, and what I saw again there was fight. We scored the first goal, gave up the next 4. And then scored to make it 4-2, and I thought we're pushing to make it 4-3. We make a mistake, now it's 5-2, and then we get it in 5-3. So there was some resiliency there, which this group has shown over the course of the year. But it's not something that I want to be known to be a resilient bunch and a bunch that doesn't go away. But I don't want to be known as a team that's constantly coming back from 2 and 3 goal deficits. That's not even close to good enough. So not a whole lot of positive from the weekend for sure.
And then this week, is there anything from an on-ice standpoint that you're really going to be harping on in practice?
Nothing different than any other week. Our execution with the puck, our defending in the D zone in particular and on the rush are going to be areas that we focus on. It's definitely something that we focused on a lot this season, but we're not going to change now. So.
I guess this is more of a broad question because as a player, when you were here, you went through this, some not great records, and then as a senior, that things turned around. What's the part where you kind of get past the external thing of seeing what the record is, and you mentioned like not feeling sorry for yourself in the current situation and not letting it affect what happens next?
The answer that I come back to is we're playing a game. Like, this is a sport, right? These guys get to play a game together, and they've constantly said how close of a group they are, which I wouldn't disagree with. It seems like a very close group. Well, the number of games that we get to play as the 2019-2020 team is dwindling. We've got 6 games guaranteed left. So why wouldn't we take advantage of those opportunities to have some fun with it? Nobody is having fun with the results and with the way we're playing. But we have another opportunity. So let's stop the complacency for 19 to 23-year-old young people. It creeps in. Oh, I've always got tomorrow. I want the season to be over. We cannot have that, because as soon as the season's over, fast forward 4 days, they're going to wish we had more hockey. They're going to wish we could play more. They're going to want to get it back out there and compete, because that's all they know. Well, we're not taking advantage of opportunities like we should be, and that is something that's going to be regrettable. Again, is this team a team that's totally underachieved all year long? No. But we're wasting opportunities feeling sorry for ourselves. We're wasting opportunities worried about yesterday's result and not taking advantage of today and leaving tomorrow right there. And I think that's regrettable. That's where I think the regret comes. I'm going to be here next year. I believe that. But we have 6, 8 guys that aren't. And why are we worried about what happened yesterday? That's hard to convince a young person. And we're getting into deeper things, right? Because going back to my time, like you said, my second year, we were arguably the worst team in the country. I'm not comparing this team to that team. Anybody who was on that team knows how bad we were. And we couldn't wait for the season to get over. And then it got over, we wished we had more hockey to play. And everybody above us was trying to convince us, you don't want the season to be over. Now, what that group was able to do was decide no more. It had nothing to do with the coaches. We as players said, this isn't going to happen ever again. And then it started to get better. But I don't want this to be over. I don't want them to want it to be over. There's hockey to play. And let's have some fun with it by playing the game the right way, which is a game that I think we've shown we can play. We just haven't done enough of the time.
Do you feel like the overall mood or attitude is still positive?
I do in practice. We get to games, I don't. I still feel this is a group that's waiting for one thing to go wrong. And we scored first goal at Denver. It's 1-0 within the first minute and a half of the game on Friday. All of a sudden, fast forward 18 and a half minutes, it's 4-1 because one bad thing turns into another bad thing, turns into another bad penalty, turns into another. I mean, I think that it's a fine line, and I do think that they've done a nice job in practice when the person pushing back is their teammate or their buddy, or me, or Barry, Reuter, whatever. But in games, we're waiting for something bad to happen, and that has to stop. So I think as crazy as this sounds, our attitude, our mental approach between practice and games, it's not the same. We've struggled taking a good positive approach from practice into games.
And then what can you tell us about what Omaha brings this weekend?
Well, I think Omaha is a team we played early in the year, and they were a top 20 team at that time. I think they played some good hockey. They're a team that's probably 2 years ahead of us in terms of this transition. Would that sound about right? I think the coaching staff's been there maybe 3 years. I think they're young in the back end, but capable. They've got some really good forwards. They've got a young goaltender who's proven to be pretty good. So they're a team that we know they're fighting for playoff positioning just like everybody else is. I'm expecting it to be a very difficult challenge this weekend, just like every other weekend is. I like the fact we're at home celebrating the careers of these 6 or 8 seniors, and hopefully we can play well for a home crowd with the last home series here.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.